Okay, I think we can start. I don't see anybody else coming in. I wanted to start with the Monarch, since we have two running. We have Ink and also Spiv, or no, Spiv's Regent. We have Ink and Spartan. Which one of you want to start? Spartan or Ink?
I'll let Spartan start.
Okay. Spartan, can you talk about what do you want to do for the rain and your rain plan and all that?
Well, my raid plan is pretty simple. Like I was mostly wanting to look into more of just making sure everything's running as smoothly as I can. Help out in any area that the Monarch might be needed, and um look into make sure the knighting stuff is going smoothly. Um, reach out to parks, see if they need anything. Just all in service to the kingdom, in that area. Oops, sorry.
Okay, Ink.
My plan is what I have already been trying to do as Monarch, which is supporting career development. So if folks are seeking assistance with their Amtgard career choices, I'm helping them navigate the path to grow within the kingdom, upholding the merit in awards and the standard of excellence. So, encouraging positive attitude, honor, and a dedication to performance, and just making sure that people are recognized for the cool stuff and excellent jobs that they're doing in Amtgard.
Okay, now we'll go over to Regent, and that's Spiv.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. I am Spiv of Mechia, and I am running for Kingdom Regent. I have outlined a plan which I have already publicly submitted, but to kind of touch on that, my kind of overall goals are to amplify the talents of the many crafters throughout the kingdom by using the kingdom position as a platform to showcase what they can do. Because I myself am not one of those talented crafters, but they need a spokesperson, and I wanted to be that. And the one thing that I'm actually kind of sad I never got any questions on, that I am very adamant about, is the eradication of vampires from the kingdom, because the Burning Lands had it right 30 years ago, and this is something that has been relatively successful at my park, enforcing the Edict of Ben's Living Room, and I want to bring that to a kingdom level.
Okay, and last but not least, the champion Bubbles.
Hey everybody. Just for the next reign, plan on doing more games, bigger games, also adding in another battle game tournament. I'm trying to do that one as a day event, as well as a kingdom level archery event. And so just keep playing the game and trying to have as much fun as possible with everyone else.
Okay, and with that, I guess we'll hop into the questions. Let me find where they went. That one said wait. Let's see, we'll try this one. For Regent, What is your resume or experience in the Regent position?
That has already been answered in the thread, but I will touch on it in person. I have not served as regent at any level. I have been a park level champion for 3 terms and a park monarch for 2 terms. Well, I should say I'm concluding my 2nd term right now.
Okay. See, the next one is Monarch. How would you vet award recommendations for the higher awards, such as 8 and Master, 8 through Masterhood?
Does it matter who goes first?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. How I quote vet awards. One of my biggest running platforms that I ran with this past term, and what I'd like to continue pushing, is working as a team, because we only function as well as we work as a team. So I work with my team. We've specifically had meetings after every event to go over the huge influx of awards we go through, and usually we agree on them as a team. If I need more information, if I don't have enough, if they don't have enough, because I can't be everywhere at once, I will reach out to people who have been, let's say, in a class, for example, who have been in the class and have gotten a feel for it and take that into consideration. I've reached out to knights and masters, specifically to talk about whether or not they would think that award is worthy or not. And again, just make sure that I'm working with a team and it's not just me deciding an award.
Okay, Spartan, same question.
Um, yeah, so I would work with the monarchy team, and reach out to other masters as well. If it's a situation where I'm not unfamiliar with the player, I would like to reach out to their park members, like their monarch and people that know them the best too, to get more information for higher level awards, and their knight, or whoever they might be belted to. I think that's it.
Okay. Next question. Do you have, or questions for the Monarch candidate? Do you have people selected for the knightings already?
I do have candidates in mind. Nothing obviously has been confirmed yet, uh, but I've had people reach out to me and they are being considered. I will also take any other considerations should folks want to reach out and put anybody else up.
I do not, because I don't really know that information yet, or how to look into that to see who was ready, but
Okay. I'm gonna go to the next one. Questions for Regent candidate. How often do you plan on holding crafty chats? And what sites do you intend to book for kingdom level events?
2-parter. All right. First, to the first one, my plan is a little unorthodox. In addition to the crafty chats, I actually wanted to host chats that were maybe a little out of the ordinary for the normal skills that would be taught or talked about in a crafty chat, your normal things like sewing or leather working or weapons making. Um, I wanted to highlight maybe skills that the kingdom has that are maybe less common. I'll give you an example. I am a mead maker at home, and maybe I could hold a chat or a class on how to brew mead, or something along those lines, things that you don't normally hear about. But as for the crafty chats themselves, I plan on keeping the status quo there, just throwing my little personal touch into the mix. And then as for the locations, I would certainly like to keep them relatively similar. Um, I, coming in from an outsider's perspective, I don't have all the information on the booking process just yet, but I'm sure that will come fairly easy. But I'd be interested in looking at sites that are not kind of the norm as well. It seems like the existing sites have an existing relationship with us as a kingdom, but I don't see any problem in establishing new relationships with other places if they could hold a kingdom of our size.
Okay. Let me see. Let's find this one. For everyone, what do you see as the greatest strength of our kingdom right now, and how would you build on it?
Do you want to start with monarchs first, or
We can start from there.
okay? I answered this one. I think our greatest strength is our people and like the amount of participants we have in the kingdom. Um, our people's attitudes towards the game as a whole is absolutely incredible and really does make this game worth playing. The joy I see when people are doing, like little quests or whatever is it's so much fun. And not just quests, but like classes, games, etc. Our people make this game fun and worth running, and it's what makes being part of Monarchy and being interwoven into the game like I am so much fun and worth doing.
Spartan.
Yeah, so one thing that I've seen in the kingdom and being in other kingdoms is that Winter's Edge tries to focus on a lot of fun, you know, having great battle games and um, just coming together and just trying to make the most fun out of events and stuff, you know, and that's one thing I want to try to keep as a tradition. Just trying to make as much fun as we can with it and to grow and to be acceptable to new ideas to have more fun, you know.
Viv.
Well, I'm at a little bit of a loss for words because King Ink took my answer. I was going to say the people as well. Um, but I guess if barring that, then it is definitely the culture. And, of course, by extension, people are what make that culture. So, it's competitive when it needs to be competitive. And it has, it very, very silly twists when need be. Like, I will cite what was it, a couple of reigns ago, the Final Fantasy theme, or like the kind of the pro wrestling theme of King Vidalia's reign. Like they're little things that get sprinkled in that keep it fun and interesting, and that's what I hope to carry on.
Okay, and Bubbles.
Yeah, I'd say kind of go along with everybody else as well. The people and the passion that they have for the game, to me, that's what's always really impressed me. It's just hearing people talk about the game, planning classes, on the field, the passion that they have while playing. And I think that just needs to carry on by providing the space for people to play, to have fun, and as well run their own games and grow as well. Like making space for people to try running games at the kingdom level. I think that is what needs to happen for us to grow.
Okay, and the question for champion candidate. Will the format be the same, or what changes do you plan on making currently for the battle game tournament?
Generally, format will be the same. There would be a few changes with the timing of each round as well as spawn points. The biggest change would be a more centric Reeve team, planned much better ahead of time. I will admit I did not do as well as I should have the very first time. So that would be the largest change, is getting Reeves better scheduled and better communicating between them during the tournament.
Okay, and continuing with the champion question, would you consider upping team and field size? Questions from Gally.
Field size, I would probably keep about the same right now. The teams, like if we're talking number on the field, probably not, just to make sure that we can actually get a variety of players on the field. So if we up teams too much, I don't know if we have enough to fill out, as many teams as could be on the field. So I'd prioritize getting the team number of teams more than having like 7-8 people on the field, just so you have a variety of opponents during the tournament.
Okay, let's see, for Spiv, how exactly do you plan to root out the vampire scourge that hunts our deep woods in the dead of night? From Vandalia. Scourge.
Fantastic question. Well, from what I understand historically, the Kingdom of the Burning Lands has relied on the Royal Amtgard Navy for the enforcement of the Edict of Ben's Living Room, while Winter's Edge boasts no such unit or fighting force. My plan actually was to visit parks personally, in addition to the crafty duties that are kind of embodied in the Regent. I've also planned on basically deputizing locals and crowdsourcing this effort, since we don't have an organization dedicated to the cause.
Okay, everybody can hear me? Gray just joined and killed me. Okay. Let's see. For champions, where do you plan on holding the next battle game tournament?
So I plan on doing that as a day event in between I believe it's February and April events. So it'd probably be sometime end of March when it's a lot nicer weather out and we don't have to worry about overheating. But I'm planning on doing it as a day event. And as for location, that is still up in the air.
Find the anonymous question. Here we go. All candidates, what are your weaknesses as an officer that you are aware of, and how are you working on it to be better officer for the community?
I can start this again if you would like me to.
Okay.
My biggest weakness is that I'm a very blunt person, and sometimes that can come across in a negative way, even if I don't intend for it to. Um, the steps that I take is just to make sure that I'm phrasing things and taking time to make sure that how I phrase things don't come across that way and they're not as sharp. And being really conscientious of how people could take things, looking into phrasing, and again, doing everything I can to basically not make my words such a sharp edge.
Spartan, you're next.
I would say my biggest weaknesses, if you don't know me very well, I have dyslexia, which is with dyslexia is finding sometimes writing, which becomes an issue, but new technology helps with that. Also, with my form of dyslexia, trying to find the right words to say becomes an issue sometimes. So, like, before I do things, I try to sit down and think about how do I want to word it, because I might be misunderstood or stuff like that, and that's something I don't like to do. I try to get to the point and try to be as understood as possible, but choosing the right words to say.
Viv, same question.
Fantastic question. Well, I guess like Jarl Spartan before me, I also have a form of neurospiciness, but that little devil's name is ADHD. So it tends to manifest in being maybe a tad forgetful at times. But actually, thanks to my darling wife, I've already uh, taken some steps to improve there. Like just in my personal life, I've started calendaring everything, um, whether it be household chores or little uh, date nights and things along those lines. Just things that I do not want to forget. So I plan on carrying that, and I'm not sure if there's like a shared calendar for the leadership team, but that might be a good start. And if not, then I can put important dates and things like that to keep that part better organized.
And Bubbles?
Yes, I have the tendency to think if it's something that I care about or something that I'm doing, I have the personality of, well, if I want it done right, I'll just do it myself, and which occasionally leads me to be a little stressed and a little blunt with people, which definitely did not happen. But and to improve on it, what I have is just somebody to help who is just there to assist and uh, do what needs to be done, so nothing gets overwhelming, and also just letting go a little bit and ensuring that the people have the space to do the work themselves.
Okay. Let's see. Next question would be for the Regent candidate, or candidate. Would you be open to booking a Thursday night through Sunday event for the Kingdom? This is something that had been discussed and is done in a lot of other kingdoms, other games, but as far as I'm aware, hasn't been done yet in the kingdom. So
Well, I am always open to trying new things. I like putting little personal touches on things, and if a Thursday through Sunday hasn't been done, then I don't see why not. I would really love it if that question asker could contact me privately, like as a sidebar, because I'd be interested to know like what that person was thinking, and maybe try to spin something up from there.
okay. Let's see. Continuing then that question for Monarch candidates, what are your priorities in selecting candidates to elevate for knighthood?
I can start with the yeah. um, my priorities are looking at folks who are like first up on the list. So, if you were approved a year ago, I'm going to look at you over somebody who was approved yesterday, right? Because we want to make sure that people are adequately getting filed through. And we don't want people waiting forever to be knighted, right? You did the thing, you got the thing. Let's have a big party,
Spartan?
I agree with Ink too. I also would like to look at people that also, I think prioritizing people who had their vote, way on out is number one. But also look at prioritizing first time knightings as well.
Okay. Next question. Let me go up. Okay, for all, were there any issues or challenges that you observed in the current reign that you want to improve on in the upcoming one? I guess we can start. Yep.
God, I think the biggest one was the heat at this past event. We had players dropping like flies, and I think the biggest priority would be to just make sure that there's water and that there are cups available so people don't have to bring their own bottles or whatever to get water. It's a readily available resource. I think that the Hydrocrat team at the event and basically everybody else did an amazing job making sure that everybody was as hydrated and taken care of as they could have been. It's just an unfortunate circumstance of having, a big battle game in the tournament or a big battle tournament in the heat. Um, so yeah, I think that was definitely the biggest of the rain.
Spartan?
I haven't really noticed anything, like wrong. That I'm aware of anyway. But I think, like Ink said, the heat is definitely a concern, especially after the last game. Um, Probably look into like more cool down stations, like if there's electric available, maybe some fans and misters or stuff like that for events that we have, heat waves in or hot weather. Um, Other than that, I don't really know of any issues that I'm aware of that need to be improved on.
Viv?
Let's see. Now, I can't speak directly about the last event, but the things that I had heard about the heat related injuries were pretty concerning. But it sounds like steps were taken there to prevent that from happening again. Um, I guess really overall from my other event experience has been it seems like there's a very tenuous relationship with timekeeping in terms of when events are supposed to take place and where. And I would be very interested in setting those things a little more tightly so that people know where to go, what to do. I don't care if I have to like grab autocrats by the ear and drag them around, but we make sure things get done on time.
Bubbles.
Yeah, one of the big things I can think of is just communication at the time. And it's when something happens, it's communicating to the right people in that timely manner so you don't get if somebody's looking for an answer to something, they aren't going to 5 different people getting 5 different answers. It's, hey, we've made this decision. Now we're communicating that decision out to everybody so we have a consistent message across to everybody.
Okay. Let's see, let me go back to the anonymous. For all candidates, do you have any planned travel that would interfere with their duties as an officer? You can start from the top. Ink.
At the time, I don't have any other plans that would interfere with my kingdom duties.
Spartan.
Yeah, I don't really have anything planned that would interfere with my duties as Monarch.
Spiv.
Oh, I wish I had a life, but no, I do not have any plans for travel or any other such things that would take me away from these duties.
Bubbles.
I wish I could afford that, but not right now.
Okay. Let's see. And what more anonymous? I think. Find it. Oh no, a lot more anonymous. Monarch. Do you have a park visit plan that you can share with the community and why you are going to those parks specifically? Start from the top. Ink.
I don't have anything planned just yet. I will be putting that together with my team if I get reelected. The only current one that we have is Dragon's Hollow coming up this weekend. If any of you would like to come out and join your Kingdom Monarchy.
Woo!
Spartan.
I have a small list of parks that I would like to visit. It's mostly because I have not visited them personally as well. Um, just to more connect with people within the game and other parks.
Spiv.
But
Were you saying more, Spartan?
I was just
I
going to
don't
say
want
the
you.
list will be available if I become in office.
Okay. And Spiv.
Well, I live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, so my visits would be roughly in about a 4-hour radius of that, I'm hoping. So basically, the parks in Kentucky, the as far southeast as about Atlanta area, and Chattanooga, some of the Alabama parks. I forgot where my kind of southbound limit is. I can't remember if it's Birmingham or the other one. But my the other thing about that is that I don't really plan on announcing it. I just want to drop in.
Okay, Bubbles, you have any traveling?
It would just be wait to see when all of us can go together. That would be what I would do, is like we have been doing. It's all go as one, have the whole kingdom come down. So nothing right now.
Okay, let's see. For Regent, Spiv, what skills do you feel like helped you as a park champion that would help you as a regent with no regent experience?
Fantastic question. Um, well, I would say the skills of really storytelling and organization. Um, I make it no secret that so far, by far, champion has been my favorite role to fill. Um, but as regent on a kingdom level, organization becomes much more important, as I touched on in the declarations thread. But I would also want to lend some of that storytelling to maybe like themed contests. Like one comes to mind in the kind of fall time frame when we're looking at coronation. So if elected, there would be something right off the bat.
Okay, to continue with the regent question, what is your experience with planning events? What is the biggest event you have planned?
Biggest event I have planned. Let's see. I guess Amp Guard related. I have been involved in the planning for what our last several reigns of Koro and mid reign. Um, Prior to that, I have been involved in planning let's see, an event like several hours away for players of a different game that I played in at a different time, to gather. And if anyone here is familiar with Pokemon Go, the game was its predecessor. It's called Ingress, kind of same concept, only it's team based. Did a lot of organization with that, and let's see. As I mentioned in the declarations thread, uh, my real life job involves some degree of project management, so I do project planning for it quite frequently as well.
Okay, go back and find the questions. Okay, I think this one's for all. What would you do to make Winner's Edge more inclusive to our younger players who are still learning so that they want to keep playing? Start from the top, Ink.
Alrighty. My focus is heavily on the Poppet Crat. The Poppet Crat is usually the person that brings all these younger folks in and makes sure that they're getting a really fun experience from Amp Guard and not just, their parents or whoever's brought them. So whatever they need, um, any materials, advice, et cetera, that they would need to make sure that the younger folks are getting a really cool experience from Amp Guard is what I would prioritize.
Barton.
Repeat the question again. Sorry.
Let's see, back to it up top. It's so far. What would you do to make Winner's Edge more inclusive to our younger players who are still learning so that they want to keep playing?
Um, kind of on the lines with Ink, making sure the Poppet Crat and stuff is, she had a pretty good point there, with the Poppet Crat and stuff like that. Um, I was a part of years ago whenever I was in Winter's Crest, we had a small tournament for the teenage group, the kids that were right at the borderline of being um, of age. We had some small tournaments just for them, so some smaller kids that are at the age are a little bit intimidated, jumping in, big battle games and stuff like that. So I think, working with a team and trying to find something that fits their skill level would be awesome.
Okay, Spiv.
I think that that's maybe one prong to what should be a multi-pronged approach. If we're trying to reach and retain the younger generation, um, then there also needs to be a stronger social media presence. I know that that fellow Come Try LARP has been doing great things, um, but I think we need a stronger social media presence as well to reach out and keep the younger folks coming back.
Bubbles.
It's so if they are if they are old enough to actually, play in battle games, then, but maybe you're just old enough, then try and have some of our more senior people in the game do the notice them and do the, all right, you go over here, do this, and just try and keep them engaged in the game, because if you have fun, you're just going to want to come back. So it's trying to ensure that they are having a good time as well, and not just these same 5 people always meeting in the middle of a game and ignoring everybody else. So it's getting our more experienced people to take the time and teach along the way during games.
Okay, let me scroll back and find the other question. Okay, Regent question. So Spiv, do you have any specific Regent related things you plan on running or running differently? Example, Dragon Master, yearly Christmas boat flag exchange, a showcase, etc.
That's something that I've been heavily considering since I have thrown my hat in the ring. I've actually been taking this time to kind of wrap my head around Dragon Master a little more, since I was already advised by a previous regent that that tends to be one of the most stressful uh, things that fall under the regent's purview. As for something different, I would, and I've mentioned in previous questions about adding a personal touch to things. Um, Nothing's finalized just yet, but uh, I've considered things like an extra category for Dragon Master, and just something that makes things maybe a little more fun, or uh, little more on the tongue-in-cheek side. Uh, I know that let's see, I know that previous regents have also done things with cooking. I would like to continue that tradition as well, because maybe that's the one craft that my wife likes to say that I am good at. um, but let's see. As for specifics, the last thing that came to mind, and I guess I will give a spoiler to everyone here, since I touched on it in one of my last answers, is like right after Koro and we're in the fall season, is that I would want to quote unquote play Amped Gourd. And I thank Panther 7A9, if he's still in here, for that lovely little play on words, and have a pumpkin painting slash carving contest, because that is kind of not within the normal sort of purview of like sewing, leather making, things like that a regent normally does.
Okay, Let's see. This one's for Monarch. What are your thoughts on the various outreach efforts that have been made? What is your plan to assist on those outreach projects? Inc.
I am in full support of all of the outreach projects that have been going on. I recently had a talk with the coordinators about MomoCon and how successful that has been. It's I know that there is a bid being put together for MomoCon specifically, and it's hard to say, um, what I will or won't do because we don't have the bid in, of course, but I 100% want to push for this because the amount of players we've been getting, the amount of retention we've been getting with those players specifically has been phenomenal. And the coordinators and the volunteers that are doing this have been doing a fantastic job.
Spartan, same question.
Yeah, I'm pretty in full support of the outreaches. I think it's a really good way of promoting the game and what we do. I would just try to help out and do whatever I'm able to do to help those outreach programs or whoever needs help in it.
Okay. And to stay on Monarch, what non-traditional positions for the kingdom have you been in contact with, and how have you assisted them in their positions and goals for the community? Inc.
Can you repeat the question one more time for me?
Yeah, let me go back to it. What non-traditional positions for the kingdom have you been in contact with, and how have you assisted them in their positions and goals for the community?
I am in the group chat for trans support as an example, and I'm there to be an ear if somebody needs me, if someone needs advice. Honestly, again, I know it's kind of a cheesy, all enveloping answer, but if they need anything, I'm there to be a person to talk to or a liaison between people, just whatever anyone needs.
Spartan?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Ink there. She kind of hit that question on the head for me. So, um, I haven't really had a whole lot of influence within non-tradition spots, but when my knight was Kingdom GMR, I shadowed him a lot with that and helped out with questions and stuff that he asked me. It's kind of weird that I've been in the game longer than my knight. um, but yeah, I mean, I would be in full support of anybody who needs, especially in those areas.
Okay, go back to the public questions. Oh, let's see. There's one for culinary. Uh, so Spiv, if you host a culinary category, are you going to bring in trained players to help judge on technical skill, flavor profiles, ingredient inclusions, etc., rather than which items look pretty?
That is a fantastic question. Like I said, things are still kind of in the idea phase at the moment. Um, Now, about that though, I do tend to watch some of those cooking shows like Chopped or Iron Chef and whatnot, and they tend to have your hoity-toity like restaurateur Michelin star judges, right? Um, I'm not sure if I would want to go with experts or if I would want to go with lay people, just are like random volunteer judges that not necessarily want to judge based on what looks pretty, but what tastes good to a lay person, because I've always commented when watching these shows, like, how different would this contest be if they had like $50 and had to run to Walmart for their ingredients instead of instead of having these top quality items at their disposal. So things aren't definite yet, but that's still a wonderful question, and I hope whoever asked that will hold me accountable to this, because I want to return a final decision in a timely manner.
Okay. Let's see. Back to here. Make sure I'm not missing any. Biv, how would you address the rumors that your own park hosts an alleged vampire, Blood Raven?
Yes, I actually just answered that in the the comments of the chat. So I am actually looking at the orc profile right now of Blood Raven the Merc, and now the Merc would indicate that he belongs to the Merc family. Ileana is their head, as far as I am aware, and Ileana has kept a tight leash on Bloodraven. I have not seen Bloodraven in quite some time, so it seems like I did my job. But on a real note, I do believe he had some real life things come up, and I think he mentioned he was starting college, so his availability was a lot less. I didn't actually murder a person.
Good, good. Let's see. For anyone, is there such thing as a war raid between kingdoms?
Yes, there is.
Not you, me, them,
Oh,
candidates.
my bad.
Oh, okay. So,
I didn't realize you, brother.
let's see. For Monarch and Champion, will there be adequate shade for the upcoming battle games?
You forgot the last part of that question for the definitely not vampires.
I didn't want to hear it.
We are definitely looking into as much shade and coverage as we can, whether that be canopies or whatever we need to make sure that there is enough shade for you, not vampires, so the sun doesn't burn.
Yep, same. Yeah, we need to get better, but we'll make sure we do.
Spartan?
Shade, right? Is that what the question was?
Yes. That's the question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we should, look more into like, you know, some event sites don't allow canopies on the fields. I've ran into that before. Some do. Um, so that's definitely a thing we have to look at, you know, from event to event to make sure that the site will allow us to pop up, as many canopies and shade as possible. When I was autocrat of one event, I had to personally reach out and ask, "Hey, is it okay if they set this big tent up?" Some players had a bigger tent that they wanted to set up, and so that's definitely a thing that anyone within Monarchy would have to look into to make sure that the site allows more shade and tents and canopies to be set up. But I think, yeah, it's if there's power available, having like I work in construction, so I have available some big fans and stuff that I might be able to, get a hold of and bring to some events. Um, that's definitely an idea I've had before. Is like, okay, why can't we just bring some big fans out and have like a dedicated cool down area? You know. So there's definitely things to do. We just got to make sure that the sites are will allow us to do those things.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the anonymous ones. Let's see. Monarch. What are your real life qualifications that will help you deal with conflict and bans for the kingdom? Can we go with Spartan first?
So at my job, I'm head of our residential area, and I'm the project manager of our residential side of our company. Recently I had to fire one of my friends, which wasn't a good feeling on my end, but that was definitely one of the things I had to do, but making that hard choice is definitely one thing that I'll be able to do and be able to resolve a conflict to the best of my ability.
Ink.
So at my last job I was a manager, and that comes with having to make, as Spartan said, heavy choices. Sometimes you have to let people go. You have to have that conversation. Um, I've also been a mediator between coworkers where two people have had an issue with each other, and one says one thing, the other says another. My focus on anything that comes to that is making sure that I have both sides of the story before I decide on anything. I don't roll with one person because they're the loudest, or um, because their feelings are hurt the most. I want to make sure that I have both sides before anything is decided, and if I have to make a call, I have to make a call. That's part of being Monarch.
Okay. Continuing this anonymous. Monarchs. There has been conflicting information on awards for con work. Will you be awarding con work as roses, as it has been traditionally, lions, or not at all?
If you can give me a second to check the award rec form, I can answer that question.
Okay, Spartan, you want to go first while she looks?
I guess it just depends on the position they did at the con work, what award it would follow under, because we would try to go underneath the description of the award as close as we can. At least I do whenever I'm giving out awards. At park level, I try to do. We did a bunch of con work at the Bowling Green convention, and we gave out roses, which was the closest thing I can find at the time, and I think we gave a couple lions out to some people. So it would be more of along the lines of the closest award that it describes for what you've done.
The ones given out this rain will be roses.
Okay. Let's see. Continuing with the anonymous for Spiv, so Regent. Participants in Dragon Master typically expect that they will be getting feedback from experienced people. Are you intending to use experts in any of your judging or not?
Yes, for the standard categories, that is absolutely what I would do, because yes, the feedback is important, and crafting has a special part in Amtgard, and I don't intend to cheapen that. As zany as some of my answers have sounded, I do have a serious side, and I wouldn't want to take away anyone's experience with a lack of experience to play the words there. So yes, thankfully there have already been plenty of people that have reached out and volunteered their expertise. So I don't feel like I stand alone here, and I thank every last one of them.
Okay, let's see if there's a public one before I get the anonymous one. My phone's acting crazy. Let's see, for the Monarch, what are your standards for awards? What do you look at? I know it was stated to contact others and get opinions, but do you consider the strengths, downfalls, and growth of that person? Barton, you want to go first?
Sure. So yeah, I would look at the person's strength, downfalls, and then I wouldn't really say downfalls. I would really say, areas of improvement that, they need to improve in. But yeah, I mean, I would look into, what they've done. I try to do like a small investigation on the people, especially if I don't know them really well. Um, Try to get more information, from people they know, their monarch, stuff like that. But also, if an award rec comes up, to also try to, in any available time, if I'm at an event or something, I try to keep an eye on that person, try to see what they do and how they're, improving. So I try to do more of a hands-on kind of thing to see, you know, to judge on how I'm gonna give that award and if it's, you know, deserved or not.
Okay, Ink.
I definitely want to see growth, whether that's in scope, skill, or nuance, part of the game. And the most important to me is whether or not you're growing as a person, artisan, etc., whatever aspect that you are a part of. Whether you start out as helping somebody on the side to start out with and then develop into a more leadership position. Um, all of that's taken into consideration when we go over awards.
Okay. And another anonymous has come in. Um, all of these positions are ones that require a great deal of organization, communication, and cause major stress. What sort of support network have you built for yourself to help you keep your sanity and help you perform your duty to the best of your abilities? Barton, Ink, which one wants to start?
I guess I'll start. So the question is pretty much how do I decompress and not be a butthead in the game? um, so I've been in the game for a long time. I've learned different, coping skills. So I look at it, although some aspects of the game is really important, but I also look at it, this is a game. This is something we do to have fun, hang out with friends, get some LARPing in. Um, some aspects of the game definitely need to be taken more seriously. But, at the end of the day, we're there to have fun. So I try to look at that, like this is something we're doing as a recreation, just not to get too upset at any situation or person.
Ink?
So I'm an artist, and my biggest coping mechanism is drawing. And if I get stressed, that's one avenue that I take. The other one is I literally go touch grass. Um, a lot of the parts of Monarchy can get overwhelming, and it helps to step away from the phone and go outside and hang out with friends or just go chill in some grass for a bit, go swimming, go do something other than this. And much like Spartan said, remember that it's a game. I think another thing that you can look on if you are stressed or feeling bad about where you're at or what you're doing is look at how far you've come in your journey, no matter what that is, whether that be in monarchy or whatever, and realize that you're not where you initially started. It may not feel like that. It may not feel like progress at first, but you are making progress. And that's something to be proud of.
Okay, Spiv, same question.
I have yet to experience the level of stress that others are expressing. But then again, maybe my gauge is a little offset. But I'm actually kind of looking forward to it because some degree of stress enhances performance. Um, but when that time comes, yes, I have my own support network and my lovely wife who gave me permission to throw my hat in the ring, and ultimately her support is the first thing that I relied on. But about the previous question about what Winner's Edge's greatest strength is, and we basically all said the people. I've met fantastic people that I can also fall back on and rely on for advice or guidance. And coming in, to brand new to a kingdom position, I know I'll need it because I'm one person, right? Like I want to surround myself with knowledgeable people.
Okay, Bubbles.
Yeah, so sometimes things get a little stressful, but for me, it's what I need to do is just take that step back and just take that breath and just do the okay, it's just a game. This is important, but I need to make sure I have the clear decision and not make the snap decision of being stressed. So it's that taking a minute, calm down, seeking out the right person to talk to figure out what the correct course of action should be, and having that support system built in with people from my park, other friends, people from around, if whatever the stressful situation is, just taking that minute, making sure I'm not making that snap decision that is going to not be the correct one, and very much just letting it go and remembering we're trying to have fun. We need to keep moving forward.
Okay. Let's see. There's an anonymous one for the monarchs. So, do you know what restorative justice means, and can you explain it in your own words? How would you practice this as monarch?
Repeat that again. I'm sorry. My mother called me.
Oh, you're good. Do you know what restorative justice means, and can you explain it in your own words? And how would you practice this as monarch?
Restorative justice. I'm kind of unfamiliar with that term.
I'm also unfamiliar.
We'll look it up and we'll come back to it. Let's see. Still for monarchs, what are your standards for awards? What do you look at? I know it's stated to contact others and get opinions. What do you consider your strengths, downfalls, and growth of that person? Already did that one. For all candidates, okay. How long have you been in your game, and what achievement are you most proud of in the game? We can start with Spartan.
I've been in a game since October of 1998. I think my biggest achievement is quite a bit a few years ago. Our park was going down, um, so I went on a pretty much I need a recruit muster, And just about every friend that I could find, or person that I thought might be interested, for 2 weeks straight, I just kind of recruited and told them where we was at, gave them our location and all that. Um, and at the time, our park grew to almost 65 members just within that 2 weeks. I think that's my
Ink.
biggest memory.
Okay. Ink.
So I've been playing since May 2021, and my biggest achievement. So as a lot of us do when we're going through AmpGuard, I had really bad imposter syndrome. Like, is my work actually good? Am I doing a good job? Am I making the impression that I want to? And I went down to Neverwinter, and I don't know if any of you guys know her, but there's an amazing, very talented artisan down there named Venus. And I entered a best of the best that she was competing in. And being me, I was like, there's no way I'm going to win this. Venus is in this. And again, her work is phenomenal. And I happened to win the best of the best and was congratulated by Venus in her very Venus way. And it's something that I look back on when I'm feeling bad about something that has helped forward me, not only to like push forward in my work, but to reach out to others and help as well. And that I am good enough. I can teach the thing. I can do the thing.
Okay, Spiff.
Let's see. I've been with AmpGuard for, I want to say, a little over 3 years now, but I started with foam fighting in general with Belagarth way back when I was a teenager, so I'm no stranger to that part. My biggest accomplishment, or the thing I'm most proud of, I don't know if that has happened yet, because I don't want to rest on any laurels. But I would say if we're looking for something definitive, just to answer the question, I would say probably planning and executing on the park events. Or no, actually, let me take that back. Probably the thing that I'm most proud of just happened recently. Mechia has been in need of a new home for quite some time, and we recently concluded the all thing that made our park move official. So I would say it would be that.
Okay, Bubbles.
I've been in game like 3 to 4 years. I can't remember exactly how long, but somewhere around that time. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of is I I I was able to build a castle that I could move and bring it out to park. And it was actually a physical castle. So yeah, I was really proud of that one.
Okay. See, I seen one that I missed up top. Ready to go. Okay, for all candidates, what are your thoughts on the new requirements for awards where the Monarch is the only one able to approve, deny awards? Or do you think Regent and Champion should also be able to individually approve awards? We can start from Ink.
Alrighty. I believe that originally awards were delegated to the Regent and Champion to take pressure off of the Monarch. But with the invention of the Senator role, the Monarch is capable of taking point on award research and approval. I would hope that change doesn't impact our officer teams. I know, as I've said before, our current monarchy works as a group when approving awards. Um, and I also support the opinion of our populace, as all Kapoor changes require supermajority.
Spartan?
Um, Ink pretty much answered what I was gonna say, but I think the champion and stuff are definitely, their opinion is definitely noted, and you know, I would like to work closely with all officers or within the monarchy team to determine awards and stuff like that. So yeah.
Spiv?
I have no strong feelings one way or the other about it. I am willing to abide by the Corpora, however it is written or changed. I've been, the one that signs off on awards and one to recommend awards, so I have no problems with either role.
Bubbles?
Yeah, I mean, if that is what Kapoor says, and if that's what the people want, I have no problem, uh, yielding that authority to Monarch as long as Monarch is essentially reaching out and also asking for opinions. It's as long as there's a discussion on it, I'm happy.
Okay. A question came in for champion. So, Bubbles, is there another rain theme in mind, or do you plan to stick with Labyrinth?
There is, I know I definitely do want to change just so we are not trying to keep the same one for an entire year, but that is something I would need to discuss with whoever's going to be coming in just to make sure that they're on board for it as well. I don't want to say right now that yes, we are doing this when, people coming in are not fully hyped for it and involved.
Okay. And now we're going to go back to the anonymous question. Let me find it. Restorative justice seeks to examine the harmful impact of a crime and then determines what can be done to repair that harm while holding the person who caused it accountable for his or her action. Accountability for the offender means accepting responsibility and acting to repair the harm done. What it means, let me go back to the question. Okay, where to go? Do you know what restorative justice means, and can you explain it in your own words? How would you practice this as Monarch? So, Spartan and Ink.
I'm not really familiar with that exact term, but I guess, um, as a monarch, you got to make some decisions and hold, some players, accountable for actions. I guess it really just falls on the situation, on how severity the situation is, on how to act to it, um, depending on the situation, to see if it's at a bannable offense or at a suspension or along that lines. Then also investigate it, get both sides and look into, what was the harm done in, some situations and try to fix it to the best of our ability.
Ink.
Alrighty. I was today years old when I found out what that means.
Me too.
I think that AmpGuard is just getting to a place where it's holding people accountable at all for their actions. I also think that there's a time and place for restorative justice, but I would rather not risk victims feeling obligated or pressured to reconcile with their perpetrators. And that would definitely need to be handled by a psychological professional or social worker skilled in that. However, I've been using a 3-step approach for nonviolent or non-serious offenses. So, for example, sloughing, right? If you are caught sloughing, right? Let's say the champion sees you and goes, "Yes, that was a thing. I'm going to give you a warning," right? An official warning from the kingdom that says, "We have seen this. You know, maybe you didn't mean to, maybe something's happening." Every situation has nuance. I want to put that out there first. Um, but we're going to give you a warning. If it continues, we're going to take you off the field. You don't get to participate in kingdom level battles anymore or fighting, etc. If that still continues, then unfortunately, we're going to have to ban you, right? I do want to push for the enjoyment of everybody in Amtgard, and someone who consistently is sloughing is taking away from the enjoyment and the fairness of the game in itself. And it's a COC violation, so we don't need that. We want to treat all COCs as equal. And again, everything has nuance to it. So maybe that's how it goes. Maybe there's another way, but that is how we have been handling things so far.
Okay. And to continue with the Monarchs, being on the band team means handling sensitive topics and handling victims. Are you able to keep such things confidential? And are you dedicated to handling victims with respect?
I don't know if you wanted to go first or not.
Spartan or Ink, either one.
I think treating everybody with respect is a definite. Handling a situation, especially if someone's upset, like if something happened and someone's upset about it, trying to come at it, as a respectful and understanding person is important to me because, like, especially if someone's upset, I don't know the situation yet, so I want to come to them as, as nice and as understanding as possible, to get to, hey, why are you upset? What's wrong? How can I help? But as a person and, as a member of Amtgard, I try to treat everybody with respect and dignity that they deserve. Um, uh, just trying to treat people nicely and, looking at a ban, I definitely want an investigation, going on because I don't want to, I don't take a ban lightly. There's some people in the game that's worked really hard, and I don't want to ban someone that didn't really deserve it on those lines. But if if it is a CLC violation, then we take them all seriously, of course. But I definitely want to do a full investigation, treat everybody with respect on both sides, depending on the situation, of course. Um, you you don't really, you got different situations that you can look at that question at. Um, but yeah, treating people with respect is definitely a big thing. Coming at it as a you're in office, you got to hold yourself, a little bit differently. You got to, talk to people a little bit differently, because some people are looking up to you to look at your answer and how you're gonna answer, um, handle the situation.
Ink.
Not to be crass, but like this is a no-brainer to me. Of course, that's going to happen. Like as Spartan said, you're in a position of leadership. You're at the top. You want to make sure that you are a safe space for victims to come to and talk to, and make sure that things get rectified. Especially the more heinous stuff. If I can't be that for somebody, then what am I doing in office?
Okay. And there's more anonymous questions for the Monarchs. Let me get back to it. Where'd it go? Are you aware of Amtgard's whistleblower retaliation policy, and what do you have in mind for ensuring whistleblowers are protected during your reign? Spartan?
Um, whistleblower, like in like a tattletale or something along that line. Is that what you're meaning, or the question's meaning?
So, just for definition, a whistleblower is someone who knows that negative or improper illegal items are going on in the background, so they come forward and say, hey, this is going on, it's illegal, breaks our ROP or our Capora, I'm letting you know publicly so that I can get it to stop. They would be considered a whistleblower. This policy basically prevents them from being attacked or having negative repercussions for doing the right thing.
I mean, in my opinion, if something is illegal is going on, a CLC is a CLC. You know, Capora is Capora. No, you know, at the end of the day, you got to follow Capora. So, I mean, I think if someone came up with a serious, thing and they're talking about it and they're being a whistleblower, then I'll be like, they'll stay completely anonymous in my book and be treated with respect just like anybody else.
I would maintain confidentiality and not punish those who choose to step forward.
Okay, I'm trying to find the next question. Back to the anonymous. This one's for Spiv, Regent. Regent is an intensive, busy role looking for vetting, booking sites, coordinating dozens of awards and scribes, and interfacing with autocrats, etc. Having not done any of this before, what is your plan for learning such an expansive job and executing it well?
Fantastic question. Like I said in a previous question, I am but one person, and I know that it may seem kind of daunting doing all of that to hit the ground running, but really, it's about having people in your corner. Um, I don't claim to be the expert in everything all at once, but my pledge to answer that question is to get up to speed as quickly as I possibly can from the people that have done the role, from other subject matter experts. I have no problems humbling myself and saying, hey, I'm a dum dum. How does this work? Or what are the best practices for this?
Okay, let's see if there's any that we didn't do up here. I think we answered all of them that came in, even the anonymous ones. Oops, Screech is typing. Okay, for all candidates, some of our most successful events have been ones with a donated coffee bar. Do you support allocating some of the Kingdom coffers to supporting proper caffeination for our players? We can start with Ink this time.
As a coffee lover myself, I would 100% be down. I don't think I got to partake in the coffee bar, but I, once again, am down, especially if other people want it, and it's that it's part of a successful event.
Spartan?
Yeah, I've helped the coffee bar team plenty of times with the coffee bar. One event, I even went out and bought a brand new bun for them. Um, I don't really drink a whole lot of coffee due to allergy reasons, but I'm definitely down with it, and I think it's kind of cool how they run it.
Biff?
I have absolutely no problems with that. And I would say, why not take it a step further? I seem to remember an event past where there was some sort of other special treat prepared, after the day is done and everybody's just kind of carousing. I think it was called Midnight Bacon or something along those lines. So why not go coffee and some other sort of treat? I know meat isn't everybody's bag, but it was just an example of, something to go along with the coffee.
Bubbles?
Yeah, it sounds great to me. Absolutely. Fully in support.
Coffee. I'm waiting for more questions. I don't think there's any more. Oh, bacon. Any more questions? We'll wait a few minutes and see if. Oh, everybody's talking about bacon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap it up on my end. 3:30 comes early.
Yeah. Okay, if there's no more questions, does any of the candidates want to say anything else to close it out?
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all your questions. And I look forward to potentially running or being your monarch for a second term.
Anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah, want to just thank everyone as well for being here and asking such very good questions, and very excited, to run games, play, have more fun, more games with more people. So hopefully we can all do that together.
I will second those lovely comments. I appreciate everyone's time and the very thoughtful questions, and I look forward to the opportunity to represent you as Regent.
Okay, Spartan, any last words?
I just pretty much say I appreciate everybody for asking questions and being involved in it, and thanks to our current monarchy team, they've done a good job so far that I'm aware of. I think no matter who gets it, I think the kingdom's in good hands and hopefully have a really nice and good reign.
Okay, and with that, I just want to thank everybody for coming, and I'll get those credits in right now. Thank you. Good night.